What's up, NFL draft fans out there? Ryan Thomas here for another special edition, Wednesday night edition of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by 26shirts.com. For all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs, go to 26shirts.com. Find yourself a great Bills item, a great Bandits item, the number one seed in the National Lacrosse League, the reigning, defending, two-time undisputed back-to-back champion Buffalo Bandits are back in the playoffs as the one seed. If you want some new Buffalo Bandits gear, you can find it at 26shirts.com as well. Bison season is in full swing. So check out 26shirts.com for your Buffalo sports apparel needs. This is going to be a great episode. I'm really excited to dive into a full first round 2025 NFL mock draft team by team. I can't wait. So let's get to it. Enjoy the show. All right, that's enough of that. Man, I'm ready. Maybe, just maybe, the next intro that I put out, guys, is going to be a little bit shorter. I think that's all I want. A quick, 30-second intro that I could just, let the people know who I am. And for all intents and purposes, I feel like a lot of people already know who I am, but I wanted a really different intro, one that wouldn't get, for whatever reason, even if it's some type of auto tunes that you make, sometimes they can still get flagged for whatever reason. But I want to put out a great new intro. Thanks to Jared Reed for helping me put that out. But today is Wednesday, guys. Really excited for tonight's show. You guys watching this live, greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. For those of you that are not, tune into it a little bit later or on demand. Thomas Take Sports Podcast, Buffalo fan base, whatever it may be. However you tune into the podcast, I greatly appreciate you guys tuning in as long as you have. This has been a journey, to say the least. This podcast has become a big part of who I am, how I interact with others, how I meet new people. It's just been great in terms of the last, 2015, 2016, since I started this podcast. So this has always been my bread and butter. I already talked about the, draft last week, where I dove into a lot of different things pertaining to the Buffalo Bills. But I want to just go into the first round today, talk about every single team in the NFL, including our Buffalo Bills, and show a little bit of the knowledge that I believe that I possess in terms of what do the 32 teams in the National Football League, what exactly do they need? Well, I got a good grasp as far as how that goes. What do the teams need, and why do they need it, and what players fit those particular teams, what players fit in terms of those particular teams' needs. That's a really big deal to me to find that out, figure that out, provide that information, and provide that to the fans because at the end of the day, the fans really deserve it. And I'm going to go blue and yellow for this. Lockport High School, Lockport Lions, Buffalo Sabres, blue and gold. Missed the playoffs for the 14th straight year, but they're on a bit of a tear right now. Shout out to those guys trying to end the season on a good note. I, for one, respect it, while some don't. But I'm going to go blue and gold for this episode. It's just an itch that I have to go blue and gold. So Thomas Take Sports Podcast, that logo in the top right. You can subscribe to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast by searching it on YouTube. That way you won't miss a beat. Any video that I put out will be available for you guys to tune into on demand whenever you want. So let's get right to it here. Let's get to the ESPN NFL Mock Draft Simulator. Now, what's really great about this is I can pick between all 30 NFL teams. This has been something that I've been doing in my free time, just putting together a little tidbit, little mock draft here in terms of just all the teams and what they need and what they want and what I think they should take. So getting set up here, getting situated here is key. So let's do this. Let's just go with a plain background here and fire away here on this mock draft simulator. So we're going to go with a normal speed. We're going to do one round, and we are going to be every single team that is out there. Actually, no, it doesn't let us do it that way. You know what? I guess we will go back here. I'm going to do mock draft simulator with free trades. We'll use this one again. So I want to be every team, and we're going to be first round. And we're going to go right with this one. We're going to go with the Pro Football Sports Network mock draft simulator. This one I like, but it is a little annoying with some of the ads that are on it. But, hey, they got to pay the bills. So always what happens with situations like these is I wonder oftentimes, who is the best player in a draft and who is the player that the number one team or the team with the number one pick, rather, what should they pick? What's best for that team? What is the right fit for that team? And is taking the best player available the best fit for the team with the number one pick? Not always the case. Sometimes it is. Sometimes teams do decide to take that number one player on their board rather than who they want or need the most. They take just talent over I guess, what would be conceived as need. Case in point, I believe it was 2006 when the Houston Texans took none other than future Buffalo Bill Mario Williams. So the reason I'm saying this is because I truly believe that Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. I really do. I really believe that he's the guy that is going to really jump out at teams and be that player in the National Football League that is just a superstar. And that's really exciting for whatever team takes him. But there's also the thought that quarterbacks are needed in this league. You need to have a good quarterback. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're going to fall behind. And that is why I believe the Tennessee Titans are picking first overall in this draft. They're not only just a poor football team, but Will Levis has not really done it for me, and he's not really done it for them. So quarterback is a very likely scenario here. So I'm going to go with Cam Ward being the first overall pick in this draft. I'd be hard-pressed to, potentially see Cam Ward go to another team at this pick if, in fact, Tennessee does decide to trade down. But like I said, I'd be hard-pressed to see Tennessee do that. It seems like they've really ramped up their due diligence on finding a quarterback, finding a player that really fits what they're looking for. So that's where I'm at as far as this goes. So I'm going to go with Cam Ward being the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft. Now, The Cleveland Browns. Now, this is a team that has been bad for really quite some time. And when I look at the Browns, I go back to a big memory of mine when the Browns were out of the National Football League. Then they're reinserted in the National Football League in 1999. And ever since, it has just been a dumpster fire in terms of just competitiveness and the quarterback position. Going into this here now, they don't have the, so to speak, shall I say, quarterback need or thought of as a quarterback need because of the fact that it's looked at as, okay, well, we got more than enough right now in terms of veteran leadership. We have a Joe Flacco brought in. We got Kenny Pickett brought in to kind of tame the dogs, the dog pound. While the worst investment, I think, in NFL history, Deshaun Watson works his way back. There's really no way of getting out of that contract right now. It's more likely than not his last season in Cleveland anyway. But quarterback-wise, Shedeur Sanders, is that a possibility here? I think it's less of a possibility for Cleveland than it was more of a possibility for Tennessee, and their taking of a quarterback at first overall, as this mock draft predicts. But I feel like Cleveland's fan base is really yearning for some juice, some excitement, and the most elusive player in this draft, bar none, one of the most talented players, one of the two most talented players in this draft, Travis Hunter, I see going to Cleveland. Playing corner, could potentially play wide out. That's the pick that I have for the Cleveland Browns. Now, dream scenario here for the New York Football Giants, as both Cam Ward and Travis Hunter are off the board here. Abdul Carter still on the board. Great scenario here. If Cleveland goes Abdul Carter at 2, rather than Travis Hunter, then obviously the Giants would find themselves with Travis Hunter. So they're in real prime position to end up with a really great player, or do, in fact, they go with Shedeur Sanders. They sign not one quarterback, but 2 quarterbacks in free agency, none other than Jameis Winston as well as Russell Wilson. So I don't see the Giants going the quarterback route this early in the 2025 NFL draft. I see them passing on Shedeur Sanders, and I see them going with more defense. Defense was what helped the Giants win their last 2 Super Bowls. Abdul Carter goes 3rd overall to the New York Football Giants. Next up, the New England Patriots. Really great position for the Patriots here to rebuild their defense, rebuild their offensive line potentially to protect none other than Drake May, who is now their entrenched franchise quarterback with the trade of Joe Milton to the Dallas Cowboys. So the Patriots really have a lot of needs. They're a very bad team. They've tried to add here and there. They were very big spenders this free agency by signing Stephon Diggs and a few other defensive pieces. But I have just a simple statement to make that I think is extremely important when talking about quarterbacks in the National Football League, and it's simple. Talking about quarterbacks in the National Football League, you have to state that you have to be able to go out and protect that asset, protect that quarterback, get weapons to obviously help that quarterback's skill set, but get guys in there that can protect them. Don't do what the Indianapolis Colts did with Andrew Luck. Be better than that. Be better than that. And I think that the Patriots are well aware that they need to be better than that. So I have the Patriots here selecting Will Campbell, offensive tackle of the LSU Tigers, protecting the blind side or strong side, whatever they so choose, whatever ends up happening with that. Will Campbell definitely helps the New England Patriots get better. So the number one need here, as we can see here from the Jacksonville Jaguars, 5th overall, defensive tackle, Mason Graham, easy pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 6th overall. Now, this is really exciting for me. Talk about a player that I really love, and that is Ashton Jeanty. Of course, I look at Jeanty as, the clear-cut number 1 running back in this class. And it's easy to state why that is. He's big, he's bulky, He can do a lot of really good things in terms of after contact. Yards after contact is really where Ashton Jeanty makes his bread, makes his money. That's what's going to get him a really good second contract, and that's what's going to get him extended in this league by whichever team drafts him. But, man, if he could go to a team that could utilize him, that needs him, go to a team that really wants to use him and give him the 250 to 300 plus carries that I think he can handle, look no further than a team that really, really needs him. And that, in my opinion, is the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Raiders definitely make their offense better. Could they go corner here? Could they go quarterback here? Could they, should they? There's a lot of debate with this pick, but to me, Ashton Jeanty just makes way too much sense. It's 6 too early for a running back. Now, in this class, this is a great class, but there is one above the rest, I think, for a reason. And that one above the rest ran for 2,000 plus yards from scrimmage for Boise State. So for the Boise State Broncos, he goes from the Broncos in college to the Raiders in the National Football League. That'll make a lot of Raiders fans happy to steal a Bronco away from the collegiate ranks so that he could join their squad. So Ashton Jeanty, to me, great pick for the there we go. There it was. Vegas Raiders. So now we move down here. Bit of a recap here. We got Cam Ward going to the Titans, Travis Hunter going to the Browns, the New York Giants selecting Abdul Carter, Patriots going with Will Campbell, first tackle off the board, D tackle Mason Graham going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashton Jeanty going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Viva Las Vegas. So moving down here, this is what's very tough about this mock draft app is that you have to drag it and it just looks kind of stupid. So bear with me here as I work through this. So we're working our way up, back up, back down. See, there we go. Okay, gotta go slow. There we go. Okay, so the Jets are the 7th pick. The New York Jets. Oh boy. So the New York Jets are a very interesting team right now. They went from the Robert Saleh era, Aaron Rodgers era, to now Aaron Glenn and Justin Fields. I don't necessarily quite understand the Justin Fields signing as much as Jets fans want me to. Jets fans right now, they could not muster another situation going awry at the quarterback position. But unfortunately, I don't think they got a guy that is a starter in this league. And I think that's been proven. I think that Justin Fields has skills that make him a dynamic NFL caliber athlete, definitely skills that make him a solid backup and make him a little bit of a matchup nightmare in terms of his versatility as a runner. But week to week, can that guy do what Josh Allen's done, what Joe Burrow's done, what Lamar Jackson has done, and many, many others thus far? He has not shown that he's been able to do that. Maybe he didn't get quite the right opportunity in Pittsburgh. Maybe there could have been a little bit more meat on the bone there. Maybe there was some meat left on the bone there. But to be quite fair, I was shocked that the New York Jets gave Justin Fields the contract that they did. And I felt like they were primed and ready to take another quarterback in this draft. But I think the Justin Fields signing says no to that. They're going to see if Justin Fields really does have the goods that made him so great in college, or was it just his supporting cast? Was it just the fact that he had Chris Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. and a lot of really talented wideouts to throw to? I think a lot of people lean that way. I kind of lean that way as of right now, but all seriousness, the Jets have to get this first round pick right. And to me, I feel like there is two major needs rather that should take place, whether it is offensive tackle or wideout, could potentially go tight end as well. You look at Armand Membo out of Missouri. That could be a possibility for them. As I go back to the mock draft board here, I'm very small on this board, but you're here to listen to the voice and you're here to see the picks. So Armand Membo at 8, eighth best, Armand Membo could be a possibility here. Titaroa McMillan could be a possibility here, or Tyler Warren. All three players I really like, but to me, they are dying for offensive tackle help. I'm going with Armand Membo. Next up, the Carolina Panthers. So Carolina kind of had a weird year last year. Weird in that the record didn't really show, how decent they actually were and how much better Bryce Young was. To me, I found that pretty fascinating that, he definitely got better under a first-year head coach, but I definitely feel like there's a lot to be desired in terms of just skill positions, in terms of just overall both sides of the ball skill. That's what Carolina really needs right now. And to me, quarterback not going to be picked here. Bryce Young is their guy. I think they saw some improvement with him. Will Johnson could be the pick here, or Titaroa McMillan could be the pick there as well. They went wide receiver last year in the first with their first pick rather. So I don't know if they'll do it again. I'm going to go with Will Johnson here, corner out of Michigan, being the first corner off the board as a top 10 pick here, going 8 to the Carolina Panthers, which brings us to the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints went into this draft feeling like, okay, we got another year left here to see what Derek Carr can bring to the table. I was a little bit skeptical on that. I was a little bit thinking, I don't know if that's going to be the right choice for the Saints to move forward with. Derek Carr has had a lot of injuries. He's hasn't really led the Saints to really anything, and is coming off of a tenure with the Raiders that was a little bit underwhelming. So I always felt like there were some cases to be made that they got rid of him too soon. Then he goes to the Saints, and he hasn't really done anything. So I think it's time for a new era here with the New Orleans Saints, and I think this is a sexy pick here for the Saints to really revitalize the juice in the Bayou and get things get the chatter going about the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go with Shedeur Sanders here, going to the Saints out of Colorado. He'll trade his black and gold with one franchise, with one college football team, the Colorado Buffaloes, and he'll head out to New Orleans. I think it's a great fit for Shedeur. I think it's a great fit potentially for potential reunion with his father, Deion Sanders, if in fact the Saints don't do well his rookie year. Deion could break away from the college ranks and coach his son in the National Football League. So that's still a possibility. So next pick here, the Chicago Bears. Now the Bears have needs at offensive tackle. Bears have needs at running back. They need a safety, they need an edge rusher, and they need a linebacker. With what's available, Titaroa McMillan, Tyler Warren, Jelon Walker. Do they need somebody to put in there with Tremaine Edmonds? Do they need a pass rusher? Could they go with a tackle? They've invested quite a lot in their offensive line already. They've also invested quite a lot in terms of their weaponry. So is Keenan Allen on the outs, though? Could they take a McMillan just to add young talent to the wide receiver position once again? It's possible. Cole Kmet, I think, is solid at tight end, but I think Jelon Walker is the pick that stands out for me going to the Chicago Bears. The San Francisco 49ers, the 11th overall pick, they have team needs across the board as well. They've lost quite a lot. But I'm going to go with Shamar Stewart as the pick here, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M, Shamar Stewart. Next up, the 12th overall pick for the Dallas Cowboys. This is very interesting because we know Dallas. We know what they like to do. They like to be sexy. They like to have a big splash. Titaroa McMillan going 12th overall to the Dallas Cowboys. And next up here, as we scroll back upward, we get the 13th overall pick here, the Miami Dolphins. They need a lot of help on the interior offensive line and defensive line, as well as the outside of their offensive line. Offensive line across the board, per Pro Football Sports Network, is looked at as a huge problem. Safety, linebacker. Miami is dwindling as far as the pinnacle of of their talent. I feel like their talent pool is really starting to dwindle, and that is a real problem in terms of what's at stake here for the Miami Dolphins. Looking at this just honestly and non-biased, the Dolphins just have so many needs. They are going to only get worse, as these last two off seasons have kind of illustrated. They're set to have more needs and more issues than what they foresaw. But they got to come away with a game changer here. And to me, Tyler Warren is a great player for the Dolphins to select. I think he'd help Tua out quite a bit. Could be a great pick here, 13 for the Miami Dolphins. So 14, the Indianapolis Colts. They got needs across the board too. Tight end, of course, I believe it's center, guard, linebacker, and quarterback. Quarterback, that's a really interesting one. But looking at this here, tight end was just off the board for them with Tyler Warren. Do they go with a tackle? Do they go with a guard? Let's take a look here. This is probably the first pick where you might be reaching outside the box here. Let's see what we got here in terms of tackles and things like that. We got Kelvin Banks. We got Matthew Golden, Mike Green, Colson Loveland. Okay, well, Tyler Warren goes, Colson Loveland back-to-back from the Michigan Wolverines. Next up here, the Atlanta Falcons. They got corner on the board here as far as a team need. D-tackle, edge rusher. We're going to go Mike Green out of Marshall going to the Falcons. The Arizona Cardinals, edge rusher, D-tackle, wide receiver, offensive guard, and linebacker. They took Marvin Harrison Jr. in the first round last year. Do they go with an edge rusher? I like Mikael Williams out of Georgia to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cincinnati Bengals, 17th overall selection. Do they go edge rusher, D-tackle, guard, corner, or safety? Safety really rings true here for the Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm going to go with a pressure guy, a guy that can clog the middle. Derek Harmon, D-tackle out of Oregon. The Seattle Seahawks, offensive guard, offensive tackle. Let's get some protection here for new quarterback Sam Darnold. We're going to go with Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they could use a little bit of defensive help here, safe to say. I'm going to go with Malachi Starks out of Georgia. 20th overall pick here for the Denver Broncos. We're going to go with Matthew Golden, providing a new target, new weapon for rookie standout Bo Nix. And 21st overall. Now, quarterback here listed as the number one need for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I will tell you that I think Aaron Rodgers is on the way. Am I certain on that? No, but I think it's a pretty safe possibility. So I'm going to take quarterback out of the picture here. I'm going to go with a defensive position here, either D-tackle or corner. And Jahdae Barron is available. So I'm going to go with Barron here out of Texas for the Steelers. 22nd overall, you got the LA Chargers. D-tackle, tight end, wideout, corner, and, of course, offensive line. So looking at this, just being fair and honest, this could be an easy trade-out spot. It could be a spot where they say, you know what, we're just going to take the best player available for what we need. That's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm not making too many trades. I'm going with Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. The Green Bay Packers, they need edge, they need corner, they need wideout, they need D-tackle, they need linebacker. Of course, linebacker Jihad Campbell is one that really jumps out at me. I really love his stuff. I'm going to go with him to Green Bay. And 24th overall, the Minnesota Vikings, they're going to go with Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina. The Houston Texans, of course, going in the direction of offensive line with Tyler Booker to protect C.J. Stroud, who definitely needs it. And, of course, the L.A. Rams. This is a very interesting pick here for this NFL draft because you look at, the quarterback position, the quarterbacks that are available, the quarterbacks that have been taken. Who's left? Jackson Dart is this kid that a lot are saying is like this diamond in the rough, right? Culminating with 4,279 passing yards and 29 touchdowns in the 2024 season. As it states, he's got some fringe first-round hype in the 2025 NFL draft cycle. It's easy to see why. Great athleticism, great toughness, and he's got great touch on all of his throws. So the question is, how transferable is his game to the pros? If there's any coach, in terms of offensive coaches, that can translate a guy's game to the NFL in his offense, it's Sean McVay. I'm a big Sean McVay believer. I'm a big Sean McVay fan. So I'm going Jackson Dart here at 26 as the future quarterback of the LA Rams. I think that's a really great pick for now and the future. In fact, Matt Stafford gets hurt. He's not getting any younger, right? He'd be able to learn under Stafford for at least a year. I really like that idea for the LA Rams. Now, going to the Baltimore Ravens, they need quite a lot of protection for two-time NFL MVP Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go here with Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State or Nick Scorton. Nick Scorton screams to me Baltimore Raven. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go Nick Scorton. 28 Detroit Lions. They need edge. They need a guard. They need corner as well as a safety and a wideout. Detroit has been one of those teams that they have been beaten to crap over how they've drafted their team. And you look at the success that they've had. They've had a lot of success due to how Dan Campbell has kind of transformed things in Detroit and some of the different types of, drafting that he's done. Drafting guys like Jack Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs and letting guys, eat them, rip them apart, just saying, you know what? Screw it. They could do that. They could chew us up and spit us out in the media, but we have our own plan here and we're going to stick to that plan. I really respect that. So this is kind of my thought with the Detroit Lions here as I look at this mock draft here now, first round. They're going to do something that's a little outside the box, and I feel like wide receiver is a real possibility for them. They do have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They do have Jameson Williams, but Jameson Williams has had some off-the-field stuff happen, but now he should be ready and full go. But you need that third piece. If you could bolster your offense with a new third piece to make yourselves just that much better, along with Sam Laporta, by the way, I feel like Emeka Egbuka, is more of a slot guy. Luther Burden is more of a slot receiver as well. Those are the two best slot receivers that are in this draft, and they're back-to-back here for a reason. So I would go with Egbuka here out of the Ohio State. He's going to have to get used to playing in Michigan with this pick. Now, the Washington Commanders, they could go edge rusher. They could go corner, safety, linebacker, or wideout. Wideout they added to already with Deebo Samuel. Wideout they already have with Scary Terry McLaurin. Could they go edge? They really could use that. James Pierce Jr., explosive guy out of Tennessee. I really like that pick for the Washington Commanders. Listen, they got a really tough division to play in here. And I feel like it's a division that they need to get after the quarterback, whether it's Dak Prescott, whether it's Jalen Hurts, or whether it is Russell Wilson or whoever the Giants have playing for them. Got to get after the quarterback. Can never have too many pass rushers, right? So now that brings me to the Buffalo Bills, the team that everybody wants me to talk about, the team that I'm always talking about on this podcast, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills pick in this draft 30th overall. This is a draft, a mock that I've done zero trades, just picked what these teams need, pick by pick, and diving into their team needs. Now, Buffalo is listed to need a corner, a D tackle, a linebacker, a safety, and a wide receiver. I would not disagree with any of those needs listed. Are they, which ones out of those 5 team needs that are listed, which one is a real need for the Buffalo Bills based on who's on this board here? and taking players within the board, right? I think that there is a love for a lot of interior defensive linemen here at this pick for Buffalo. I definitely like Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams is listed here by Pro Football and Sports Network as an exciting defensive tackle prospect who possesses the kind of raw athleticism and physical tools that will get NFL decision makers excited. He's highly disruptive and is nearly impossible to block one-on-one in the passing game. Williams primarily wins with his bull rush and overall motor, and he can convert speed to power, collapse the pocket, or stunt across alignments, penetrate gaps. Williams makes a ton of plays late in the down, never stops working, even when his initial rush is stymied. However, he does lack strength, which hurts his ability to finish and pry through extensions at times. Williams must develop consistent hand counters to keep his chest clear as a rusher, but he projects as a high upside run defender with similar potential in the passing game. He brings inbuilt alignment versatility from 1-tech all the way to 5-tech on early downs. So, man, there's a lot there. You go to defense, the defensive side of the ball. Again, D-tackle. Tyleik Williams listed. Kenneth Grant, I talked about him in the last episode. I really like Kenneth Grant a lot. I really do. And I talked about him in the last mock draft episode. They list him as one of the most explosive defensive tackle prospects, over 330 pounds, to enter the NFL draft. I really like Kenneth Grant. I think this would be the home run pick, for the Buffalo Bills. But just for the sake of this mock draft, I don't want to pick the same guy twice. I want to pick somebody different. So I'm just picking Tyleik Williams, not only because I like him, but because I think that he's listed here at 34 on this ranking, and Kenneth Grant is listed 38. So I'm going to go Tyleik Williams here for the Buffalo Bills, the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They need a lot of offensive line help. I'm going to go with Josh Simmons at 31, and then the Philadelphia Eagles, the world champs. Could they go with Gray Zabel, Marion Hampton, Luther Burden? I'm going to make the sexy addition of a Luther Burden to the Super Bowl champs. So the full results of this mock draft are right here. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to download it, and I am going to post this wherever it is needed. As of now, this mock draft, Kenneth Grant would not be going in the first round. If that happened, I would want Buffalo to trade back up into the early second and try to get him too, to just make this defensive line just freaking nasty. So there you have it. That's the first round mock draft here. Cut off at the top here, but Cam Ward, I think, is a safe bet here at 1. Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. You see it. I'll post it as soon as this podcast is uploaded tomorrow night. And really looking forward to hearing the reaction from all of the NFL draft nerds out there that tuned into this special edition of the Thomas Take Sports podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of my show. I will be back next week, most certainly, as at this time next week, we'll be one day away from the NFL draft. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do good, God bless, and last, but certainly not least, go Bills.